Hello there.
This is where the fun begins.
Hey there guys, Unofficial Star Wars here. Hope you're all doing well, and in this video we're going to be talking about a big Mandalorian crossover event as we have new details that have been teased for Disney's big plans into the regards of the Mandoverse. That all being said, we're going to go ahead and we're going to hop right on into it. Taking a read from the direct article, I'm going to have their full article linked in the description down below for you guys to check out there, as well as a read with new rumors of plot details from both Ahsoka and Star Wars skeleton crew circulating around. The first hints at the Mandalorian's major crossover event have been revealed. Star Wars storytelling has generally followed a linear format, with the episodic films intended by George Lucas to be seen as one long big movie. The timeline follows a singular continuity, and though through the expanded universe and canon have series of books and comics sprinkled throughout different eras, they've largely been self-contained. It wasn't until the High Republic publishing initiative that Lucasfilm dipped its toes in the crossover waters, and with adult novels, comics, games, and more. With Disney Plus offering the chance to tell longer stories through streaming, the Mandalorian creators Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni have taken the opportunity to build a live-action crossover storyline. The Book of Boba Fett showed the first steps of the process by devoting 2 whole episodes to both Mando and Grogu, and The Mandalorian Season 3 is likely to continue the trend with Boba Fett's plausible involvement, and the same goes for Ahsoka Tano, with other Star Wars Rebel characters also having the large potential to appear there as well. Lucasfilm President Kathleen Kennedy has spoken about a major culmination event that will see the various stories in the Mandoverse collide, as fans patiently await the return of The Mandalorian Season 3, that coming in March of next year. Heavy rumors from the sets of both Ahsoka and Skeleton Crew point to details of the crossover on the horizon. Recently, Making Star Wars reported that Skeleton Crew will be set in a new region of space known as the New Beyond, or also known as New Space. This is something that we just talked about and discussed here on the channel as into the regards for Ahsoka, and that show also exploring this unknown region within the Star Wars canon. I'd also like to throw out there, for the credibility of Making Star Wars, of course, is a very reputable source out there for when it comes to all types of Star Wars news, rumors, and leaks, so they are rather trustworthy and have gotten plenty of things in the past completely right. Although, that being said, this is simply a rumor and should be treated as such. The New Beyond, or also known as New Space, this territory will be the first to be explored in the Ahsoka show coming next year, where Ahsoka will find the missing Ezra Bridger and Thrawn, as well as they had both vanished into the unknown regions at the end of Star Wars Rebels. The overall premise of Star Wars Skeleton Crew entails the exploits of a group of kids lost in space, apparently in the New Beyond realm. Along the way, they'll come into contact with Jude Law's lead character, as well as having an alleged run-in with Ahsoka as well. Making Star Wars describes the audience as being as lost as the cast of Skeleton Crew, with the group traversing completely foreign ground in a quote-unquote new universe within the canon continuity. Essentially, completely viewing this overall show as blindly as we are with the characters is always something very exciting to see. With both TV shows and also movies, it gives you a sense of urgency and keeps you at the end of your seat and on your toes. You simply only know what the main characters know, you don't know anything else, and that is something I love to see. In comparison with recently, earlier this year, Marvel's Moon Knight did this same tactic of where we only knew what was going on with one of the characters instead of all the different characters for those first couple of episodes there as well, until the rest of the backstory had been explained. Whether or not Star Wars Skeleton Crew would explain the rest of what's going on in the larger universe there onto what the other characters might see and have going on there as well isn't completely known at this point in time. Although, if you are a Marvel fan, I also have a Marvel channel linked in the description down below. Also, the fact of having Ahsoka show up in Skeleton Crew I think would be something very amazing and help better connect the overall universe here. This is something that we've been kind of seeing with The Mandalorian, how The Mandalorian branches off into the Book of Boba Fett, how Book of Boba Fett showcases a little bit of Ahsoka in there as well. It all connects into one bigger and larger universe and galaxy here as well, which is something I'm definitely looking forward to. As the article continues, it also mentions that sources suggest that the plot of Star Wars Skeleton Crew will have a direct implications on the events of The Mandalorian Season 4, as Lucasfilm builds up to this anticipated crossover event. However, confirmation will have to wait until the latter begins production and we're able to get maybe behind the seen leaked images and more potential rumors and potential plot details from there as well. Into the regards of The Mandalorian Season 4 and not Season 3, that is something that's been talked about and teased as well by both Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau, as it is in those early development stages, as per se the scripts and storyboards and plots are all being written out. That all being said, what is to expect from The Mandalorian's big crossover event and what we have in store for the next couple of years on the streaming platform and with the Mandoverse into the regards of all of its different shows. As the article continues, it says, quote-unquote, what would be Phase 1, it appears that beyond Thrawn's return, Star Wars fans know absolutely nothing about where the Mandalorian storyline is exactly going. While a conflict between Din Djarin and Bo-Katan Kryze for the throne of Mandalore in Season 3 seems quite inevitable, as it's been something heavily marketed for the third season in the trailers and all the promotional material, the fight for the control over Mandalore is beginning to seem quite trivial. This is something else that I had recently talked about here on the channel as well, and to the regards that I heavily believe that the third season of The Mandalorian is mismarketing and kind of trying to falsify itself at that there as well, steering its fans into a direction of where it's not exactly going to be going. See, as I had explained this in that video, as I'll have that linked in the description down below for you guys to check out there as well, I describe and discuss how I believe that Bo-Katan isn't necessarily going to be the main villain of the third season of The Mandalorian. Rather, maybe her and Din Djarin, the Mandalorian, will have some type of a little bit of a conflict for the first few episodes of the season, but from there, I think that the main threat is going to be once again the one, the only Moff Gideon, and even then, it could also have the potential to be Thrawn and other Imperial generals as well. However, for more on that, I have a video talking completely just about that. I'll have it linked in the description down below for you guys to check out there as well. The article continues by saying that Kathleen Kennedy previously stated that the new Star Wars films and shows wouldn't be following the MCU formula of having different quote-unquote phases, Phase 1, Phase 2, Phase 3, so forth and so on, but it's starting to seem like the Mandoverse narrative might have that potential. Moff Gideon is a capable enemy for Din and the Mandalorians, but his remnant is bound to lose when the various clans unite. If The Mandalorian Season 3 is about reclaiming Mandalore, it could spell Gideon's ultimate defeat, and it would lay that entirety of that character simply to rest. Beyond varying degrees of loyalty to the Empire, there's little that links Gideon and Thrawn. The former was a former ISB and has a strong interest in cloning with midichlorians, a connection to the brilliantly conceived return of the Emperor in The Rise of Skywalker. Thrawn has no dog in such a fight given his allegiance to the Chiss ascendancy, his species, and whatever he's discovered in the new space with Ezra Bridger is likely far more significant and important to him with gaining power. In that sense, there is every chance that Season 3 is actually the culmination of the Mandoverse quote-unquote Phase 1, for the lack of better term. Gideon and the Imperial remnant will be the foe defeated to conclude this phase and give hopes to heroes, and Thrawn will enter as the next big bad. Whatever Ahsoka and Sabine Wren uncover in the quote-unquote New Beyond during the Ahsoka show is likely to become a significant threat to the New Republic, ushering in Phase 2 of the narrative. By which, the article continues to say, what would include with Phase 2? Enter Star Wars Skeleton Crew, a seemingly insignificant group of lost kids and an adult to supervise, will be a survey as the proxy for the audiences as in new territory is explored. An outside universe doesn't seem particularly likely. Luke Skywalker is bound to appear again at some point, especially with how far they've come with the technology and have invested and worked on with it, and it could be due to the discoveries made by the Ahsoka show and with what that character discovers in the new space. Having Ahsoka reportedly meeting up in Skeleton Crew indicates she remains in the region to investigate things of new space, perhaps accompanied by Luke Skywalker. Maybe Jude Law is playing Lor San Tekka, which I believe to be an overly interesting and cool theory just now hearing about that. This is something I want to dive deeper on into in a separate future video here on the channel. The Mandalorian Season 4 and beyond should see the protagonist begin dealing with Thrawn in his threat, cutting off the second phase a few years from now. Unlike Gideon, the Grand Admiral Thrawn isn't disposable entirely. He knows just as much, if not more, than Ezra about the threats in the new space, and could turn into an ally for the Mandalorians and the New Republic forces. What Thrawn and Ezra discovered about the Force and those who lurk within the New Beyond after Rebels should build to the ultimate villain, requiring all hands on deck in his Phase 3 works towards the 2027 conclusion of the Mandoverse. That would be end of all of it. There would be no more further Mandalorian seasons or shows after that. However, that is all simply a fan theory and speculation according to the Direct, and as I had also mentioned, I have their full article linked in the description down below, as that is where the article concludes. There's a lot of interesting stuff here to overall take away here. I mean, the different phases and how that's kind of described and formatted here just for the Mandoverse alone is a very interesting concept to think about here, and have that kind of potential possibility there to expand on and with. However, having something different to the MCU and with what Marvel does with its different phases there of heroes is something of a breath of fresh air, and that's coming from a Marvel fan. There's a lot of big stuff looking forward to here with the Mandoverse, and not just that, but also everything going on with Star Wars, both on the big screen for when those movies do hit the big screen, and also for the shows on Disney Plus as well. I want to know of your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below. I would absolutely love to hear what you guys all think here. What are you looking forward to most with the future of the Mandoverse? What do you want to see in the 3rd season of The Mandalorian and the Ahsoka show as well? I would love to hear what you guys all think in the comments down below. Of course, this has been Unofficial Star Wars, and thanks so much for watching today's video. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Have a great one, guys. May the Force be with you as always. Peace out.